Supermom MD, Mother Determined, Not Your Mother's Podcast. This is a podcast about juggling motherhood, career, dating, and going into your 40s. Are you ready? Let's go!
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right today. I feel like I look very tired, but I'm glad that I don't think I sound tired.
Well, I think you look beautiful and you don't sound tired. So I think we're a win-win for there.
It's terrible because I have to be on a screen next to you. And like by comparison, you look so beautiful.
Okay, we're just like, whatever. Well, let's just go ahead and start because that's just.
I do love you and I do miss you. All right.
I miss you too, but that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. But on that note.
I was fishing for compliments. Because you're my friend and we're talking about friendship today.
I love it. And our topic is, it's okay to end a friendship when you've outgrown someone, right?
That's right. But let's talk about our RX from last week before we forget.
Yes.
Okay, so our RX from last week, we were talking about how to determine your calling or your purpose or your passions. And we were saying that you should journal your thoughts to determine what your calling or your purpose or your passions might be. How did you do?
I actually did pretty good on this one, which I was pretty proud of myself. I actually I'm not going to say I bought it for this. I have probably about 20 journals that are blank.
Nice.
So I've bought journals in the past believing I was going to use them. And they're so pretty, like some of them have hearts and sparkles and some of them have flowers and some of them have like messages on them, but they just
does not surprise me about you, by the way. I'm sure 70% of them are also the
look it, there's one right there. Do you see?
It's my favorite color actually.
And I will. Like it's so pretty. And it's completely blank in there because it's just like decor, right?
Yeah, it looks good.
However, and if you're not watching us, just know I just pointed to a journal behind me on my book. So I had one at home by my nightstand and I started using it. And like at first I was like, how long do I write? Like, do I write? Yeah. And it's weird because I'm so used to typing that handwriting now is like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. I know. It makes me think every time I write something by hand, it makes me think of like Emily Dickinson. What's her name? Oh my God, I'm so tired. Emily Dickinson or like Charles Dickens. There we go. Who used to like write things by hand. Like how did they write entire novels by hand?
And didn't they have like the feather? Yeah, it was like the feather.
Yeah. Wow, it's impossible.
We're spoiled. So.
We are so spoiled and I am so impatient.
Now, did you handwrite or did you type?
So I didn't do that exactly. I write a lot. I type out a lot. I take notes incessantly on my iPhone. Thank God, saved in the cloud. Because if I ever lose my phone, I'm losing like, I don't know, probably 10 years just worth of random thoughts. But I did manage to have a couple of like, I don't know, just weird dreams that I was just kind of writing about. Half of them were about John Mayer. That's not surprising. So what I'm thinking is that my calling is to hook up with John Mayer. So I'm just putting that.
I heard this kind of a jerk though. Did you hear Jessica Simpson?
I mean, do I care? Do I?
As long as you know ahead of time. I
know exactly what I'm getting into. John Mayer, if you're out there, call me. I don't know.
She wants your number, dude, and you can write a cool song about her.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing. And I would play it every day and tell everybody about it. So today we are talking about when to end a friendship or how to know that it's okay to end a friendship when you've outgrown them. So tell me about this.
Well, it's interesting because I think we've talked about this before, like on other shows and, but not to this depth. Right. And I was on my walk yesterday and I knew this was going to be the topic today. And so I started to think about it. And, there's a couple of people that I no longer talk to. And it wasn't like we had like a breakup or like we didn't there was no like conversation. And these are women friends. So it wasn't like any type of romantic, relationship or anything like that. But friends that I'd been friends with for well over a decade. And it, it makes you like overthink sometimes because you're like, what happened? Like, what was the breakdown? Like, I remember having a good time with this person. Like, I remember laughing with this person. Mm-hmm. I remember trusting this person. Yep. And then, like, in my head, I could kind of see the red flags. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot. I remember that time. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I forgot. There was that red flag. And I think that often, you know, I'm wondering, you know, I'm curious what you think. Is it that you outgrow them, or are there so many red flags that you're like, I just can't be in this toxic relationship? I mean, I know that some of it's outgrowing, some of it's toxic, but I feel like if it was somebody that, you know, like you and I, we could like pick up without talking to each other. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like sometimes you have connection and chemistry and that just like true like love for somebody.
Yeah.
Where, you know, for me, and you know me as a friend, like if I am your friend, like I truly care about you. And it's weird now that when I think about, especially this one person I'm really thinking about, where it's like this red flag, just I'm like, oh, wow, she did that. Yeah. She did that. You know, so that's where my brain is. Where's your brain with this?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because when you brought this up, I had the one person in my head too. And it's never easy. I mean, it's not easy for me to end any sort of relationship. I will stay in something far longer than I probably should, just because I hate conflict. And that's not about anybody else, it's about me. But I did have one person in my mind when we were talking about doing this topic and talking about this topic. And some of the signs that you shared with me were spot on with the reasons why I ended this friendship, right? So sign number one that you said, you know, the usual activities that you would do with this person, they don't interest you any longer. And I was like, absolutely, that's a check mark. One of the biggest things for me, though, and we'll get into some of the other reasons, but one of the biggest things for me was I had zero excitement in seeing this person or spending time with this person at all. In fact, I had the adverse reaction, which was I was a little bit terrified and depressed that I would have to see them. Like I would get anxious. That's a better word. I would just get mad anxiety that I would have to go see this person or spend time with this person, because not because they're a bad person, but just because the dynamic in our relationship had changed to the point where I just wasn't feeling love, support, any sort of, I don't know, warm and fuzzy things that you would get from when you are friends with somebody. It felt like work. It felt like a job. And
friendship shouldn't feel like that.
No, and not at all. And friendship shouldn't give you an anxiety or a pit in your stomach, right? You shouldn't dread seeing this person or having a text or a phone call or something come in from this person. That's a big red flag. And I got to the point where it was like, is it even worth it for me to continue to feel this way about one person? Mm-hmm. You know, or should I just end it and move on with my life? And I chose the latter. And
did you actually have a conversation with it? Like, see me, I am like awful. Like I just stopped communicating. I stopped liking anything on Facebook. Yeah. I didn't unfriend the person on Facebook because I kind of thought that was like, there was no reason to, like, it wasn't like I didn't like, I don't want ill will, you know, bad stuff to happen or anything. I just have no desire what she's doing or anything. And then it makes you also second guess yourself, like, gosh, were they really my friend, or were they just using me? Yeah. Or, and I know people say, well, and I say people, do you remember those movies? What is it? Is it Medea? Is that where Tyler Perry?
Maybe. Yeah. Those are Tyler Perry movies. Yeah.
Okay. I am totally a dork, but I like love those movies. Okay?
They're so funny.
They're like the sweetest, most corny, but always a good message at the end movies, right?
Yes,
so on a rainy day, oh my gosh, get some popcorn, and you will like cry and then laugh and then cry, and then you're like, this is the dumbest movie, but yet it's so good, right?
Yes.
And so I saw, I want to say it was like on YouTube or something, and I guess he had played this role, the Medea role, in a play or something.
It's like his thing, yeah. There's like tons of movies about it, yeah.
Yeah, and so he said something like, there's seasons of, friendships, and he like gave the illustration of like a tree, and he was like, you have the roots, and then you have the trunk, and then you have the limbs, and then you have the or maybe the branches, and then you have like the leaves.
Yep.
And like you don't want someone who the leaves are just going to blow away, and then like the branches are going to break. And so really it's about having the roots, and really you just need a couple good roots.
That's right.
He said it way better than Medea said it way better.
But I totally get where you're going with this. Yes. And don't you think that those people who are in your life and who give you the best possible love and joy and experiences in your life, those people are your roots, and the ones that like I was just talking about my former friend, but the ones who give you the anxiety and the bad feelings, and that you inherently know, we've talked about listening to our instincts before, but the ones who instinctually are not great for you or not supposed to be in your life, those that I can visualize those people as leaves on a tree, and they just blow away.
And maybe they were here for a particular reason. Maybe you were in this moment where that you needed support for whatever, you know, and they weren't supposed to be here long term. And, you know, and usually, again, those red flags, these are usually the friends, at least in my experience, that aren't really supportive of your dreams, aren't really supportive of your life. They're the friends that are, I feel, at least again with my experience, is that they never ask you how you are. They never like just say hi. It's always they want something or they want something. Like
or conversely, I mean, you're talking about having a friend for a season to support you, but what if you're the friend that's supporting them as well? Maybe it's a mutual support.
Absolutely.
That you're giving each other, you know, and I feel like that's okay for a season too. It doesn't mean necessarily that those people are bad people. I don't think that about this person anyway, but I don't think they're bad people, but I think they're definitely here for a season for a reason, not necessarily forever. And that's okay.
Well, I do think there's, and I'd love to do a show about this sometime too. I think it's called like I Don't Have a Tribe or something like that, where I keep seeing this on social media and such. And it really hit home with me. Like, I'm not one of these women that have like 20 women that I'm going to call at any moment, and we're all going to go out for, well, COVID can't do much, but you know, prior to COVID, we're all not going to go out for drinks, or we're not going to do like the girls' weekend where there's like 20 people.
Right.
Now, could I somehow probably find 20 women that are like, but do I want to spend all that time with all of them? No, I don't. And so it's, you know,
not why we're friends.
Maybe a dinner with that one once every 3 years, or, you know, but, you know, I'm wondering though, it got me thinking, you know, maybe there's like different, you know, like different women need different things. And so maybe like the leaves on the tree, and anyone listening, we'll probably do a show about the tribe thing, because I feel like there's more to this, but I feel like, you know, maybe the leaves kind of friends, right? Like maybe they are like in a different category, right? So they're there to support you, but they're not there long-term because they're not in our kind of, I hate to say categories again, but like our chapter or our,
you know, that like stick with your tree analogy, right? You have the branches, and then each branch has its own set of leaves. Maybe that's just that branch, right?
Yeah.
It's that branch.
Well, I love the other sign is, you know, when we talked a little bit about this, but you hold back from sharing things from them. This is when you also know, like, okay, and imagine like something amazing happened. Like, okay, so for you, I know a few weeks back you got a promotion at work, which was awesome. Yeah. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
So all I'll say is this: she's a VP now, guys. All right,
AVP.
AVP.
AVP, yeah. It's cool. It's cool. But it's good. It's good for me.
There's a VP in there is all I know.
You're so awesome. Yeah. No, I think it's awesome. And there are things that are happening with you that we were just talking about that I don't know if I can share, but I'm not going to, because I know that I can't. Yeah. But it's very exciting, and I'm so proud of you, right? But if you had held that back from sharing with me, I would have been really sad, because I want to celebrate
that later down the road, and you're like, she didn't even tell me. Like, what? Like, that's how I would feel. Like if I saw your promotion and then I didn't hear from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like you're literally my daughter's godmother, and I would be like, what the heck?
Why did you not?
Privilege is revoked. No, I would never do that. Yeah, no, but honestly, that's sign number 2, right? We said sign number 1, usual activities that you would do with this person. You don't want to do them anymore. Sign number 2, you're holding back from sharing your life with them. These are 2 huge things. And there's one more thing that you brought up too, right? Which was
you're the only one putting out the effort or putting in the effort. And I feel like that's always in my mind, like the first like big sign where I'm like, I feel like, and you said before, like it's work or it's not enjoyable. Like when you're the one always texting, or you're the one always remembering whatever special occasion, or you're the one just, you know, thinking of the other person, like, oh, haven't seen you for a while. Like, when are we going to hang out or whatever? To me, like it's a two-way street. And you and I have had this conversation.
We have.
Where we got to, like, not that we were ever not going to be friends, but it was more like, okay, we're getting older. We live on different sides of the world, basically, in the US. You know? And so, you know, are we both going to put this effort in to like really maintain this friendship? Because it'd be so easy not to. It'd be like, oh gosh, she lives in, you know, the East Coast. I live on the West Coast, different time zones, everything.
We both have families and other interests, all that stuff.
And it would literally just be like, oh, like on Facebook, or you go girl, you know, kind of thing. And you and I had a conversation like a few years back, like, hey, does this friendship mean something to us? It does. And so we put the time into it. We, you know, and we care about each other's families, and really you are my family. So
that's right.
You know, and I think that's something when you have a friend and, you know, when you're looking at that, is it a one-way street? Is it a two-way street? Is it, you know, this person, and I hate to say it, there are people, yes, you have the leaves but then you might have the people that come sit under your tree just for the shade, right?
Oh man, preach it. Yes.
So, you know, it makes me think of that book by Shel Silverstein, The Giving Tree, right?
Right. That's right. The poor tree. You don't want to be the poor tree at the end.
The poor tree, you know,
it goes from like bearing fruit and having these beautiful apples to share, and the boy, this selfish boy, just keeps chopping down and stealing everything from this poor tree that Jess wants to provide for this little boy until she becomes, she becomes a stump, right?
And still sat on her at the end.
He did. And it's like,
and she straight up, and she was so happy to be the stump that he could sit on.
Right? I don't want to be somebody's stump.
Exactly.
Sorry, I don't care how poetic and beautiful and poignant it is. You can take your poetic justice right out this door, because I'm not your stump, baby. I am not it.
Well, and I think sometimes it's okay to let go. It's okay to, you know, let go of whatever that definition or whatever vision that you had. It doesn't make that person bad. It doesn't make you bad. You don't even have to have a conversation. Like, you know, I'm all not for ghosting.
Yes.
We had this conversation. I'm like,
okay, we have, and sometimes that works, but I mean, for certain people, like me. But yes, right.
You don't have to ghost them. Like I've had the same person every now and then text me, like, and I'll usually, what I love about iPhones, I have to say, I'm not an Android person, but what about an iPhone is that you can literally push, like if somebody says something, you can either push like love or like or excitement. And that's me just like, I just replied, but I didn't actually reply. And that way I'm not being rude, because there's no reason to be rude. But there's no reason for me to have a full-blown conversation either.
It is too. I think that's what's so great about socials too, is that you can just go on Instagram and like a post or something. I feel awkward. Like I'm still friends with certain people in my life, but I feel awkward even commenting sometimes, because I'm like, they're gonna be like, why is she even commenting? And I don't know, I have this whole inner dialogue that goes on. It's ridiculous, and it's like I just like it and move on with my life. But yeah. But absolutely. So I think one of the things too, when you're talking about whether or not it's okay to let a friendship go, end a friendship, let it go. Besides how you're feeling inside, is this person down the road, 10 years down the road, are you going to be truly upset that you are not in this person's life, or that this person is not in your life anymore? And I feel like if you can honestly say no, even if you can look down the road 6 months or 3 months or 1 month and be like, is this person something that I miss in my life, or something that I will miss in my life? And I think this could be said for relationships as well, right? Any relationship, really, not just friends, but any relationship. If you can look down the road and be happier, or I don't know, more content or less anxious that this person's not in your life, maybe that's a sign that it's time to let that go, because it's not just about them. This is your life too.
Well, and also you're holding on to all that energy to where you could be using that energy even if you have no friends. Okay, let's just pretend there's like no true good friends. And there's a lot of people out there that really don't even have one good friend. Okay. And I feel that those people, and I always feel sad for them because I see them really working hard and trying to maintain friendships, and they're usually getting the people just stealing their shade, right? And they're working so hard, and I'm like, gosh, if they just like stop that, it would give that doorway open for the other friend that could come in and really honestly, and I like this Medea person, seriously, because I feel I wish the person was real. She seems so cool. But I like the fact that, it's like, you just need a couple roots. That's it. And even if you got one good root, that's really that's all that matters. And I feel like what happens is so many people put so much energy out there into where, it's not being reciprocated. I just had another friend, and he was a guy friend, not romantic by any means, but, been my friend for probably 14 years. And we had a conversation a couple months ago, and, everything is about him. Like, and before it was fine, I guess, because, we're both in the business world. We talk a lot business stuff, but we're also, quote unquote, good friends, as how it used to be. And it got to the point where I was like, dude, you didn't even like ask how I am. Like, and it was like not one time, it was probably like 6-7 times. And it was always me making the effort. And I was verbal. I was like, you know what? Like, I love you. I'm always going to want good things for you. I love your family. I think it's awesome. But you know what? You got to step up to the plate, dude. Like, I am not going to just like every time you need something, you're going to call me and ask me for advice on this, that, or the other. Like, you don't even ask me, like, how I am. Like, that's not a friend. And
taking your apples, and you're going to be a stump one day.
Yeah, Stop it already.
And nobody's stump.
No, and he kind of like laughed, like he didn't realize that I guess I was serious, right? And he had called like about 3 weeks after that, again asking for something else, and I just didn't respond, and then he texted, hey, what's up? Are you alive? Kind of thing. And I wrote back and I said, dude, I was like super clear with you. Like, again, this is somebody I've been friends with for like well over a decade, and I was honest about how I was feeling, and he apologized and he's trying better now. But, I feel like a lot of us are afraid to be honest. We're afraid to like say what we're feeling. If you know me, like I've probably lost friends that were probably a friend that I should have had anyways, because I am pretty honest. Honestly, I think
you really are. It's so funny because I can't see you this way though, because I don't think you've ever been that honest with me. Although there was a time in New Orleans, I had too many, I think, hurricanes from that really cool, that like oldest bar in America or whatever it was that I can't remember the name of, that had no lighting inside at night. It was super weird. But like I drank too many hurricanes, and sometimes when I drink too many hurricanes, I start talking in baby talk, and it's because I'm drunk. And I said something in baby talk, and you totally were like, what are you doing right now? And even drunk, I was like, oh yeah, it's super weird. And I'm so cognizant of it now. No more drunk baby talk.
I love it. But I feel like you should be allowed to be yourself, like regardless, knowing that if the friend has your back, they always have good intentions, regardless.
Totally. Yes. So, yes.
If you guys have a friend out there
later on.
Yeah, and if there's not a 2-way street, guys, it's not a friend. You know what I mean? Next time, though, I should just get more drunk and do baby talk like that.
Oh my God.
I
Amazing.
still have my purse, by the way, from that trip.
Oh my God, I do too. And I haven't used it yet.
I've used it for like 6 months, and then like I got it cleaned, and then like I put it away, and then now I'm like, I'm afraid to use it again because I'm totally gonna like ruin it.
No, I love it. So we went to New Orleans, Nolans, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna get totally shit crap for this because we're in the South and you're supposed to say it a certain way. It's Nolans. Anyway. And we went to this store that sold all of these like cork products, right? Like cork, right? And we both fell in love with the same purse that is made out of cork. I'm afraid to use mine. Like I'm like, if I use it, is it gonna, I don't know, disintegrate like cork?
No, it works out really well. It's just I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, same anyway.
So I bought yours and you bought mine.
yes, that's right. That's right. Oh my
gosh. Like, oh, we don't really want to spend that much money on a purse. And then we're like, but wait a second.
I know.
If we buy it from each other, we're not technically buying a purse.
It's a gift. I'm going to use it. Only because it was a gift from you. And this is another thing, right? I think this is a sign of a good friendship that should last is when you have good memories with that person that you can share. And we have many. Mm-hmm. And you're never going to get out of my life. I'm so sorry to tell you that you were stuck with me and my drunk baby talk forever and ever.
I love it. Well, you're not getting rid of me anytime soon either.
Good.
So we'll be the old ladies like the Golden Girls. But can we not do like Florida because it's too much, bugs over there? We need to find some place there's a beach with no bugs. Like, yeah, that'd be great.
That would not be in the South, I don't think. Yeah.
We'll find it. Well, what is the RX for today?
I mean, what is it? So the RX for this week is that we're going to focus on one thing to do for someone just because. So some examples of that
could be a funny text, could be sending a card, even like something like, I know it's old school, but, making cookies and sending it to them. Yes. I mean, right now it feels like, especially with COVID and all this craziness going on in the world, just these little things that we used to do way back when, like, I feel like that is a positive trend that we're kind of seeing right now. Yeah. So I feel like that's something easy we can do. So that is our
I love that.
This week.
All right. Sounds good. I'm going to do that. Sasha's been making cookies. My daughter started experimenting with cookies. So you may be getting some in the mail.
I saw one that was like a cereal tricks something.
Yes, she did a Trix and a Fruit Loop.
They looked really delicious.
They were really good. Like she did a really good job. Yeah, I know. I might send you some. You're gonna have to hide them.
I'll have to like go on an extra mile walk, but it'll be okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I can't believe our time is up, guys.
I know.
So don't forget our exes. Do something nice just because. It doesn't have to be a special occasion. And it literally can be as simple as finding those cards that you probably bought that are sitting in your desk. And
I have so many. I have so many. And if you like our podcast, please subscribe. We are on Apple and Spotify and God knows what else, all of them.
We're all of
them, all the big boys. I love that. Go and subscribe. If you want to see our faces, you can go and look at us on YouTube and our website, and you can find all of this information on our website. It is supermommd.org, and we would look forward to hearing from you and having new subscribers. Cool.
And that's it. We're done. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Supermom MD. Please make sure to subscribe to our podcast and tune in next week as we continue to keep it real about all the ups and downs of motherhood. This is definitely not your mother's podcast.